Hi there, Simon from simonwoods.com. Or should it be arrivederci, because there's an Italian theme to this quartet. One of them's not Italian, but it's made from Zinfandel, which hailed from Puglia in southern Italy, and maybe some other parts of Italy, and maybe some other parts of Europe as well. But anyway, we'll get on to that. But the first two we've got from Tuscany, and Loredini, 2008, Tenuta degli Dei, Toscano IGT. I think the blend here is something like mostly Merlot with a bit of Alicante in. Now Alicante is a grape that traditionally from the south of France, they've grown it there to boost more anemic brews. It's one of those grapes that when you actually peel it has red flesh. Most grapes, most major wine grapes, have clear flesh, but Alicante just gives a bit of boost and colour, bit of spice and grunt as well, which sometimes Merlot benefits from it. Let's see whether this has benefited from it. Now the weird thing about Italy, when it gets grapes like Tuscany, like Merlot and Syrah and Cabernet Sauvignon, and it manages to imbue them with an Italianity most of the time. Sometimes there are a few that are just a little bit too polished. So while I stick my nose in here and it's got that classic berry and plum flavour of Merlot, it's also got some of this slightly sour cherry edge and damson skins as well, just on the right side of modern. It has got quite an oaky sheen to it and vanilla polish, but it still tastes of a place rather than a process. Now I'll be honest and say I don't know whereabouts they're aiming in terms of their ambition. This could be a wine, IGT Toscana, that could be under £10. I doubt it's that price. It could be over 100. I doubt it's that price. What I see here is someone's made a really lush, modern, juicy, friendly wine, and that bit of Italianity that I smelt on the nose, that slightly sour cherry, I'd almost like a little bit more of that. It's a gentle, soft, supple wine, very friendly, hard to dislike, but maybe I'd like a few more angular edges, because it's almost a bit too smooth for its own good. Can that be true in wine? Yes, it can with this. I find I want a little bit more bite and maybe even a little bit more rustic charm. I can tell there's something from the Alicante at the back. It's giving like a bit of structure, almost like an iron herbiness to the wine. Let's give it another go. Yeah, I think it's been made by someone who knows how to make wine, maybe doesn't know when to stop making wine. I wish they'd just been a little bit more, not polished it quite so much. Okay, Caia Rossa, another Toscana IGT. This one here, blend Sangiovese, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Grenache, Petit Verdot, Syrah, Mourvèdre, Old Uncle Tom Cobley and all, in other words. But I'm not sure how much Sangiovese is here, but I imagine it's sort of the dominant feature. So let's have a see. 2 years older. Now it could be the 2 extra years of age, but I've got a feeling it's the Sangiovese component here that is making this speak with an even stronger regional accent. You're getting that edge of cola, herbs, more of that sour cherry, damson character of central, north central Italy if you want to call it that. And whereas the first one smelt that little bit too plush, that little bit too glossy, a little bit too falcon crest-like, this one has got a little bit of rustic charm in there. I remember somebody saying, well, it's more Piemonte than Tuscany, that in Piemonte you measure someone's masculinity by how far the hairs poke out between the buttons of their shirt. This is a little bit more of a hairy-chested wine. First one's maybe had a bit too much waxing. It's a really lovely wine. It's got richness and warmth. It's got power. It's got this chocolatey edge to its dark, brooding fruit. It's got things like plums, blackberries, blackcurrants. But then it's got this exotic undercurrent, slight green edge, green olive type of character. Herbs, yeah, this ever so slight edge of grilled meat. A bit of chocolate, and it feels complete. And what I particularly like about it is the finish is fresh. The finish feels like it's not a wine that's sort of like sitting there and like a big lumpy wine, and after a bit it's just going to keel over. Feels like there's a mixture of power with finesse there and structure that's going to keep it going for quite a bit. Classy wine, very nice wine. I think maybe Piccini's Montepulciano d'Abruzzo Reserva might suffer after that. Let's have a see. Well, it's not jumping out of the glass quite as much as the Cairosa was. It feels like it might be maybe a little bit riper, a little bit sweeter fruit, but yeah, there's this edge of maybe red berries here, rather as opposed to the blackberries that were in the Cairosa. There's no Montepulciano in that, or in the one before, or in the one after. I always think of Montepulciano as what a good bistro glugging wine, and it's okay. Nice, again, that slightly sour cherry edge to the fruit, yes, it's on this red berry, maybe on the red currants, red berries, bit of black currant in there, a bit of vanilla from some oak. Just feels a little bit too angular, and maybe it was a bit unfair doing it after the Cairosa, but yeah, what I call good bistro glug. Certainly be very happy to sit down and polish off a decent pizza with half a bottle of that, maybe even half a bottle plus a little bit more. Okie doke, well, let's go to a completely different country for Dry Creek Zinfandel. Heritage Zinfandel, 2007 Sonoma. Now this hasn't got Italianity, but it's got Zinfandelity. And sometimes I found that when I first came across Zinfandel 20 odd years ago, I thought it was a lovely, rich, hearty, honest, juicy, classic barbecue, outdoor, rah type of wine. Then some people seem to want to take it into, they seem to want to make port from it. The idea was, my Zinfandel's bigger than yours, it's got more alcohol, stick it in a new barrel, blah, and you end up with this sort of like really big lumpy caricature of a wine. This feels like it's back to what it should be. It's got a bit of bite, and it's got a spice and freshness. Because I gather that if you grow Zinfandel, you get to this stage. It's just the way in which the grape has evolved. Certainly in California, you'll get a bunch, and you'll have some perfectly ripe grapes, but you'll have some on the same bunch that are underripe, and you'll also have some that are overripe. What's tended to happen is people have been trying to eradicate all hints of that underripeness, and in the process, the ones that were already overripe have gone into the raisin character. This one, they haven't done that with it. It smells like there's still a little bit of that briary, ever so slightly stalky bite there, which I'm looking forward to. Yeah, honest, juicy, bear hug of a wine. Ripe, bit of chocolate, yeah, slightly leathery, lots of berries, brambles, yeah, outdoor type of wine. Maybe I'd like a little bit more bite and tannin to it. There's a softness there, like a vanilla character, which there are certain styles of wine now which are being made for me almost too facile, as if people just want to have something that's what I call a kiss me quick wine. For me, it smells good, and the longer it's in my mouth, the less I'm liking it. I'd almost have liked a little bit more wildness in there, and not being afraid to show some of that acidity, show some of those tannins that smelt and certainly initially tasted as if there were going to be more of them. So good. Actually, I quite like all of them. I certainly wouldn't say no to a second. Well, a second glass or a third glass of any of them, but for me the Cairosa is the star act here. It's a pretty classy wine, and I have a strong feeling that come steak time, I think it's steak o'clock coming up soon, that'll be the one that we're going to dig into. See you soon.